What's up, y'all? Brown-Eyed Dame here. I'm back with the very first episode of Guild Wars 2, Back to Basics. In this video, I'll be talking about playable races, professions, and looking at character creation. The first thing you'll see after logging in and selecting your character slot to make your new character is the race select screen. Let's dive into the playable races so you can get an idea of what resonates best with you. Humans were the only playable race in the original Guild Wars. In Guild Wars 2, as a human, you'll start out in Kryda, near their main city of Divinity's Reach. Humans are widespread throughout Tyria, but the unique thing about them is that they're not native to the world. They were actually brought to Tyria by their 6 gods and then began migrating all across the world. They established 5 main settlements: Ascalon, Kryda, Cantha, Ilona, and Or. During that migration, the clash with the Charr forces for territorial control of land started, and the humans successfully pushed the Charr back north out of the lands that became the human kingdom of Ascalon. Ascalon, Kryda, and Or were all established on the same northern continent, and the political advisors of the 3 decided to create guilds to boost invention and trade between the nations. Over time, in typical human fashion, the guilds also decided to start bringing religion, magics, societal issues, and warfare into the mix, thus starting the, drumroll please, Guild Wars. There were 3 Guild Wars in fact, and by the time the 3rd one rolled around, they were so caught up in squabbling amongst themselves that the Charr decided it was the perfect time to take their land in what is known as the Searing. This massive magical storm caused burning crystals to rain down on Ascalon and other portions of the region, opening up paths for the Charr to march down through the devastated Ascalon and all the way to Or to face the humans there. In a panic due to the impending Charr invasion, the ruler of Or was searching through forbidden text, found a scroll, read it aloud, and in a massive flash of light and explosion, known as the Cataclysm, caused Or to crumble and fall to the bottom of the sea, effectively taking the Charr forces and its entire human population with it. While that's a pretty glossed over story for the base Guild Wars 1 game, there are other events that happened in expansions that got us to the current events in Guild Wars 2 250 years later. In Guild Wars 2, you'll experience Kryda, its monarchy, and the ruins that are left of Ascalon and Or. Cantha and Ilona come along in later expansions. Next, let's look at the Charr. You'll start in Ascalon near their main city, the Black Citadel, as this playable race. The Charr may have been cast as the villains in Guild Wars 1, but in Guild Wars 2 you can't help but to just love the heck out of them. They're big, mostly bipedal felines with 4 ears and horns. They are the more barbarous militant race in the game and have a lot of Mongol and Roman Empire influence built into it. The Charr were one race to spread out from their original homeland in Tyria. They formed disorganized warbands that fought each other for territorial dominance. One Charr ended up standing out above the rest and claimed the title of Khan-ur, uniting the race under one leader. They fought many races as they migrated and took over land, but eventually clashed with the humans. When the humans pushed the Charr back from what was to be Ascalon, their leader, known as the Khan-ur, was assassinated. His death caused his 4 cubs, children, to fight, so they split and became known as Imperators of the newly established 4 High Legions: Ash, Blood, Flame, and Iron. While there were several Khan-urs after the original was killed, none of them could keep the Charr unified for more than a few years due to being overthrown or dying in battle shortly after their claim of the title. Due to the challenges in unity that they faced, the Charr held back on expanding further westward into the far Shiver Peaks, but not without having a few fights here and there with the Norn occupying the region. As time went on, they began to blame the human gods for the humans' victories against them. To more effectively fight the humans in their territorial expansion, the Charr sought out gods of their own. Within the Flame Legion, the Burnt Warband discovered fiery titans in a volcano, and sometime shortly after, the Shaman caste was founded. These shamans essentially united all the Charr again, ruling them with an iron fist under their newfound faith with these titans as their gods. Bethia Havocbringer, a female Charr, rejected these new gods, so they executed her as a living sacrifice and banned all female Charr from warbands and armies. The new Titan gods gave the Charr the Cauldron of Cataclysm that was used to perform the searing previously discussed. After the fall of Or and a bit down the line, a Charr named Scorch Emberspire learned that the Titans were in fact not gods and the shamans were just using them to control the Charr and go to war with the humans. Since the Flame Legion kinda started it all, the other 3 legions cast them out and now shun religion and despise worship of any kind. This is why you'll see the Flame Legion as enemies in Guild Wars 2. Since the events of Guild Wars 1, the Charr have become highly industrious and are well known for their war machines and military tech. In fact, the Iron Legion's industriousness developed into the playable engineer profession. They also re-established equality for all the sexes in the military, so you can play as a female Charr. The Norn starting area is in the Shiver Peak Mountains near their main settlement of Holbrook. They resemble humans but can shapeshift and average around 9 feet tall. They tend to be built broader and more muscular than their human counterparts. While they have a longer lifespan, up to about 120 years, they rarely die of old age. This is because the Norn culture values individual successes, personal strength, and the glory of battle to purify the soul, rather than the more militant ways of the Charr. They're constantly seeking out challenging fights and hunts for massive creatures. Fear of death is non-existent to them, because they believe only the most bold and strong can achieve immortality through their legends sung and told by skalds. The Norse and Scandinavian influence is strong in this race. The Norn have a shamanistic religion. The 4 great spirits of the wild, bear, snow leopard, raven, and wolf, are their most revered spirit beings. These spirits help the Norn escape further south into the Shiver Peaks from their homeland after a dragon attack threatened to wipe them out. Holbrook has 4 massive spirit lodges built in their honor, which are governed by the most powerful shamans called speakers. Each spirit also has a havroon that can connect to the spirit through the mists. There are many other spirits, such as ox, eagle, and worm, but they're not as widely revered. Some Norn may call upon the spirits for strength in battle, causing them to shapeshift into a were form of the said spirit. The Norn do not have a central government. Individuals who have performed significant, widely recognized heroic deeds may establish a homestead, but they're not considered rulers of those living within it. However, Newt Whitebear, the descendant of the founder of Holbrook, is accepted as the master of Holbrook and expected to keep the city safe. The Norn were first encountered in Guild Wars 1 in the Eye of the North expansion. Not a lot was known about them before they were forced further south into the far Shiver Peaks, where they had to hold their lands against the invading Charr. Their defense earned the respect of the Charr, which led to a cooperative but somewhat tense peace between the 2 neighboring races ever since. The Asura starting area is part of the Maguma jungle, known as Metrica Province, with their main city, Ratasum, nearby. Asura really value magical and intellectual superiority over everything else. They're viewed as arrogant and rude towards other races because they see themselves as superior in every way, going as far as believing they're destined to rule the world with all other less intelligent races as their subjects. To really add the cherry on top, they average between 3 and 4 feet tall. Asura were originally a subterranean race. They have large eyes to accommodate their underground living, and there's not much to differentiate between males and females. Their voice and ear structure are the only things that make them easier to distinguish. Males typically have more pointed ears, while the females are rounded. In fact, at one point, the size of an Asura's ears were seen as a reflection of their intellectual worth. The Asura are responsible for the development of the Asuran Gate Network, which had spanned the depths of Tyria and full Asuran civilization. It made traveling long distances a breeze with near-instant transportation. In their subterranean civilization, they had 6 grand cities on par with Radasum, which they currently reside in. One day, a slumbering Elder Dragon's minions used the gate network to spread throughout the depths, annihilating the majority of the Asuran civilization. This forced any survivors to the surface until the minions died out. Most of the survivors ended up making their home on the surface among magical ruins where they learned to harness the energies to establish a civilization above ground. Very few Asura have an interest in returning to the depths. They now have extended their gate network and have built waypoints all across Tyria, and they make sure that they are well compensated for their contributions to the ease of travel for traders and other peaceful peoples. In no way do they allow planned warfare by way of their gates. As far as religion goes, they believe in the eternal alchemy. This is the idea that all beings and magic in the world are part of a greater purpose or machine. Asura dedicate their lives to researching and mastering the eternal alchemy, which they believe will lead to mastery over all of Tyria. There are 3 major colleges dedicated to this research: statics, dynamics, and synergetics. Many Asura claim that the eternal alchemy is not a religion, but rather a science. Asura are also not big on organized government. Instead, they utilize crews, led by the most experienced member to complete tasks and further the Asurans' intellectual potential. They have a group known as the Arcane Council who are responsible for the more mundane parts of Asuran city life, but the role is rarely desired since the Asura in it cannot spend time with one's own research. The Sylvari also start in the Maguma jungle, but in a different area called Khalidin Forest, with their main city, the Grove, nearby. Much like Norn, they also resemble humans, but are in fact humanoid plants. They have foliage, petals, and mushroom caps for hair, with bark or leaves with high cellulose content as skin. They are bioluminescent and don't have hearts. Golden sap is what acts as their blood. Sylvari are more slender than humans and about a head shorter on average. Photosynthesis is more of a meditative supplement, with most of their nutrition coming from food just like any other race. The Sylvari are not born in the traditional sense. They emerge fully formed in adult bodies from golden or cyan fruit pods that grow on the Pale Tree, where they share a bond known as the Dream of Dreams. In the dream, they are exposed to the consciousness of the Pale Tree and the huge pool of knowledge collected by all previously emerged Sylvari. Once they emerge, a portion of the knowledge remains with them. The bond with the Pale Tree is weaker, but links all Sylvari and some other plants. It is unknown if Sylvari die of old age, as they've only been present in Tyria for about 25 years at the time of Guild Wars 2, and have only been found dead due to violence, poison, or disease. They show no signs of aging at this time and can regrow parts of themselves, but never to the same strength of the original part. The Sylvari have an agnostic view of the human gods, wanting proof of their existence and work. The Pale Tree is seen as a wise parent rather than a deity. In the dream, the Pale Tree uses Vintari's tablet to teach the Sylvari morals and ethics. This marble tablet's existence has quite the story behind it. The story begins with a human soldier named Ronan, who found a cavern filled with strange seed pods. He fled from terrible plant creatures with a single seed to show his daughter when he returned home from the war. Upon his arrival home, he discovered Mersat, which we'll talk about them at a later time, had destroyed his village and murdered his family. He swore never to return to battle and planted the seed on their graves in his grief. An aging centaur named Vintari came upon Ronan, and the two formed a friendship that surpassed the bounds of the warring races, sharing their wish for peace. Together they created a refuge near the sea and the now budding tree for all who sought peace and the shelter of friendship. Vintari tended the tree as the war between centaur and humans grew more savage and brutal in Kryta, and fewer listened to Vintari's teachings on peace. As the haven grew smaller, the old centaur carved his life lessons upon a marble tablet and laid it at the base of the Pale Tree so that future travelers may read it and learn the ways of peace and harmony. Years later, after Ronan had passed, Ventari laid at the base of the tree his friend had planted and died. The tree continued to grow, and over 100 years later, the firstborn Sylvari emerged with the guidance of Ventari's teachings in their minds. They hold the teachings of Ventari's tablet as their most sacred artifact and text. Now that we've talked a bit about the races, comment below and tell me which one you find most interesting. In the meantime, let me tell you a bit about your next choice: professions. Mesmers are part of the Scholar class, wearing light armor with a small health pool. They use magic to create illusions to misdirect and confuse their enemies. There are two types of illusions: phantasms and clones. Phantasms are semi-transparent and ethereal, and are created to do high damage to a selected target, but disappear once they do their special attack. A clone will automatically appear in their place afterward. Clones are perfect copies of the Mesmer, which are mainly used to confuse enemies. They only do the basic attack function and last until their health is depleted or the enemy dies. The Mesmer can also shatter their clones, making them disappear early and causing different status effects on the target they shatter next to. There can only be 3 clones summoned at a time. Their magic is also a pink-purple color, in case that may have some influence on your choice. Necromancers are also part of the Scholar class, wearing light armor. They use a mechanic called Death Shroud, which, when activated, turns them into a spectral form with new skills. Death Shroud is fueled by life force gathered from nearby deaths and certain skills. When Death Shroud is activated, the Necromancer's health pool switches to the life force they've gathered. This makes the Necromancers much tankier than their fellow Scholars, giving them essentially double health. They're also able to steal health from their enemies and summon undead minions to fight at their side for even more survivability. Necromancers are also great at inflicting conditions on their enemies and giving boons to their allies. Also, their magic is green-colored. Elementalists are the third and final of the Scholar class that wear light armor. They can attune to 4 elements: fire, water, air, and earth to cast spells that deal high damage to enemies or aid their allies. Elementalists are the classic glass cannon. They have the smallest health pool, but can deal large amounts of damage and require good maneuvering. Each element has an overall purpose. Fire focuses on raw power, water aids yourself and allies, air helps with mobility and crowd control, and earth is defense-based. While elementalists can't swap weapons during combat, all of the elements can be switched between, giving them different skills to utilize. This makes mastering the elementalist a bit harder, but it's worth it and they're a lot of fun. Engineers are an adventurer class, which wear medium armor. They use different skills on their tool belt that are packed full of skill options. They can employ turrets, grenades, elixirs, and other gadgets to take down their enemies by equipping one of their engineering kits. There are 7 options, and each of the kits come with their own skills. The kits available are the med kit that gives healing skills, the bomb kit with bomb skills, the grenade kit with, you guessed it, grenade skills, a flamethrower, the elixir gun, which shoots all kinds of funky elixirs to damage foes and help allies, and the toolkit that equips a wrench and uses all sorts of basic tools to do damage. There's also the elite mortar rocket, which equips a big gun that shoots different kinds of mortars with various effects. This is the only other class besides elementalists that can't weapon swap while in combat. With so many skills to try out and get used to, mastering the engineer can take some time. Thieves are part of the adventurer class wearing medium armor. They are the only class who don't have recharging weapon skills. Instead, they manage rechargeable initiative points for quick bursts of damage. Thieves can also use the steal skill to swipe a makeshift weapon from their enemies to give them the upper hand. They use a lot of stealth and shadow step skills to avoid and escape enemies, With less durability than most other classes, they require surprise attacks and inflicting conditions to overpower their enemies. They do best with 1v1 combat. Thieves have some of the best animations in my opinion. They feel very acrobatic, which is fitting for the profession. Their skills have red visuals incorporated with a smoky effect. Also, you can't tell me that the base thief for human males doesn't look like Clint Eastwood. Rangers are our third and final adventurer class wearing medium armor. Taming animal companions is the focus of this profession. They also use traps and nature spirits to get the upper hand on their enemies. The juvenile animals that rangers encounter throughout the world can be charmed and act as pets to fight alongside the rangers. There are currently 64 pets in the game. All of them have a single unique skill called a beast skill, while the other 3 skills they have are the same across families, such as bears, birds, canines, etc. Some of the pets are unique to expansions, and some are only available in water. The beast skill is the only pet skill that the ranger, you, can activate. The other 3 are used automatically by the pet as they see fit. The ranger can send a pet to attack a specific target, call them back, and toggle whether they fight or avoid combat. You can have 2 terrestrial pets and 2 aquatic pets equipped at a time and swap between them at any time. Guardians wear heavy armor and are the first of our soldier class. They use the power of their virtues to aid allies and smite their enemies. Virtues provide passive buffs to the Guardian when not activated. When they are activated, they provide a more powerful boon to allies near them. The 3 virtues are Justice, Courage, and Resolve. Justice burns enemies, Courage grants Aegis, and Resolve grants healing over time. Guardians can also summon spirit weapons to fight by their side. These are essentially ghost weapons that disappear after a powerful attack. They also use shouts to aid the allies around them or hinder the foes within earshot. Guardians have a lower base health than the warrior, but are extremely durable due to their skills and their virtues. Their magic is also a nice blue color. Warriors are our last of our base game soldier class that wear heavy armor. Revenants are another soldier class, but they are actually locked behind the first expansion, Heart of Thorns. Warriors use adrenaline to power their physical combat. The longer they're in a fight, the deadlier they become. As they attack, adrenaline builds up and can be spent on burst attacks. The fact that they're able to use the widest variety of weapons also gives them unique burst skills with each of them. Warriors can inspire their allies with shouts and battle banners that they plant in the ground around them. They can also use stances to give themselves boons to keep from being knocked back, among other things. Warriors are considered more of your classic tank class since they are so sturdy. Their adrenaline bar and particle effects are a nice golden color. There are a few other things I would like to clarify or mention very quickly. The race you pick does not have any bearing on the core gameplay of the game. One race does not have better stats in different areas than another. The race purely dictates a small portion of your personal story and the area you start in. My personal favorite is the Sylvari, but I really get a kick out of the Asura animations. There are emotes in the game as well, and each race has its own dance. Charr also have the cutest sleep emote in the entire game. Pick whatever looks or sounds coolest to you. My hope is that you love the game enough to try them all out. There are complexity scores for each of the professions. I don't go over them for a reason. Pick what really appeals to you the most. Don't be intimidated by the Elementalist or Engineer having a complexity of 3 out of 3. Take this as more of a heads up that it will take more time to really master the skills of that profession. It takes a bit more effort to manage them and their health, but if you really want to try it, do it. If you start playing a profession and know quickly that you don't like it, start over. You start with 2 character slots anyway. An easy way to test a profession out is to make a character and get through the small tutorial mission it first puts you in, then go straight to the PvP lobby. You can run around outside of matches at level 80 trying different weapons and skills on dummies, but you may feel a little lost if you do so. Guild Wars 2 does not punish you for having alternate characters. Skins, achievements, currencies, and bank storage are shared across the entire account. I have 35 characters, because I wanna. It's not the end of the world if you end up not liking the first profession you pick. As a reminder, I am not yet going over everything that this game has to offer. I'm only covering the basic game in this series. If you'd like to hear more about the entirety of this awesome game, or to go into more depth about the professions or races, comment below and let me know what you'd like to hear more about. Moving along now, I have decided to start my new account with a Sylvari Ranger. Rangers are great for learning the initial gameplay mechanics because you can keep some distance from enemies while learning their moveset and practice strafing and dodging to stay out of harm's way. Your pets will also tank most of the damage for you. Rangers are one of the more classic roles in MMOs. They may start with a longbow in Guild Wars 2, but you can play melee with this class. I encourage you to try other weapons once you feel comfortable enough to keep it fresh and a little bit challenging. Onward to character creation. Looking up here, we do have a zoom in and zoom out, hide armor, and show armor button. The Sylvari have nice little leaflets here. We have a toggle lighting. Sylvari are also bioluminescent, so this is the only race that I even use the toggle light option because of their bioluminescence. And then we also have the randomize appearance, which I literally never use, but it's there. Next we have the height, and this does not mean that they are 9 feet tall like the Norn, and this does not mean that they're 3 to 4 feet tall like Asura. This is just the height bar averages for Sylvari themselves. We also have physiques, and there are quite a few of them. If we go through here, let's see. You can look at this and notice that there are some pattern differences here. I believe on Sylvari, this is their way of showing that they are highly muscled, probably more bark skinned rather than their leaf skin. On other races, I'm pretty sure it's muscling. They'll look a little bit more muscled up. Sylvari are also really awesome because they have so many different skin colors. You can have these pretty lilac colors. There's purple, blue. There's some greens like cool teal and fresh mint. We've even got banana. And we can even go for more like a tree. Some bark, brown bark. And we do have some darker tones, some pale pink. And we even have some that look a little bit like charred wood, but I'm gonna go with the sea breeze here. We do have skin patterns also. These literally just put patterns on the body. This one's more spotted. I do like that one a lot. This one's got some like little wave looking things. We've got some patches. I also turn off the lighting whenever I look at these, just because the glow kind of works differently with different patterns, and I'm going to pick the spotted one. Then you can pick the color of the skin pattern. There are all kinds of colors here. You can match them, you can really make them pop out with a darker color, you can even make them pop with a lighter color. I think I'll probably go with purple. Purple seems to look really good on this sea breeze color. We'll go with blackberry. This is where you can choose your glow color. Your hair does glow also, and depending on the hair that you have, will glow in different places. So just be mindful of that. You can turn down or up the glow intensity, and then the colors. The colors take a little bit because it does flash on and off. So you may have to wait just a moment before you can actually pick the color that you want, but we're going to pick a purple color to go with our pattern. On to our hairstyles. There are quite a few in the base character creation. We've got some aloe looking leaves here. We have bark, and do remember that toggling the lighting on and off, see that they do glow differently. This one doesn't glow much at all. This one glows up on those leaves there. This is our cattails, our algae ponytail, love it, and our really spiky cactus. And just some pretty leaves. Sylvari are really unique just because of all of this stuff. They've got glowing ends on their hair there. Got some artichoke head. And one of my absolute favorites, the mushroom cap head. I do like the way it glows also. It just looks super cool. This one, I believe, was added when the Crystal Desert expansion came out, and this one is Cantha related, as well as the one below it, probably. I do really like this one, so let's try this one out. Don't forget, whenever you're picking the color of the hair, to toggle it to a pretty vibrant color. It will help you determine what hair you really do want. Some hair is colored more vibrantly than others, and we're gonna look for a purple color yet again. Also, you can toggle this on and off again so that you can see how the glow is going to mesh with your hair. Look at some faces here. There are all sorts of faces. Some of them look a little more weird than others because some are more barky, while some are more leafy or bud-like. We've got some spikes here, like a cactus. Bark. Got some sunken eyes there. We're gonna go with this one here. We like this for our ranger. Back out here. Then we have our ears. Yes, there are several different ears for Sylvari, actually. Anywhere from buds to leaves. They're very elfy looking, which really, this is probably the more elf-like race in this game. They all look different angles. This is our ear length, which really just seems to poke them further out. And then we have our tips, which flare up or down. We're just going to pop them back up. Face detail, I really anymore just really kind of run through this. I'll go up and down on each one of these and kind of stop where I think looks best. Feel free to take as much time as you want on these. Different races look a little bit different. Some of them will have different things to fix, like Charr's different horns and stuff. Sylvari also have some really cool glowy eyes, and the colors of their eyes are really vibrant and pop really well. And we're gonna go for one that matches their skin tone. Yeah, wintergreen looks good. And then we got nose here, got bridge width, nose width at the base, bridge height, which use my ultra wide monitor, the game doesn't really like it in character creation. It's also why a lot of the races, taller races, tend to get cut off on my screen, and I apologize for that. Got our mouth details, how full we want our cheeks, our jaw width, chin length, head width, and my favorite, head size. And I always zoom out on this because I'm weird and kind of like mine have a little bit of a bobblehead, so put it kind of in between here. Armor dyes. There used to be a way to dye the hair ornaments. Maybe just this hair in particular does not have that. It kind of bothers me just because, I mean, I'm not normally that picky, but I do think I'm gonna switch hair here to this one with flowers just because I can't dye the ornament. And I really do like this hair, so that'll work. I think it fits. Do not spend too much time in the armor dye because you're going to level up and get new armor like very, very quickly. The more you level up, the more you're just going to be chucking the armor you've already dyed. Also, all of these dyes that are shown are automatically unlocked for your account. As soon as you put on another piece, you can go into the dye screen if you really want to dye them and re-dye them, the colors that are here. So we're just going to pick some neutral stuff here. And voila! There's our ranger lady. So we've looked at our face details. Yep. I think she's beautiful. Now, we're going to go next. Alright, so now we're going to pick our beginner pet. And it says, my pet, blank, fights at my side and guards my back. Right now we have a Fernhound, Stalkers, and then we have our Moa bird. All of these are unique depending on whatever race you pick. Some of them have the same, but there's always at least one that's different. As a Sylvari, I normally always pick the Fernhound. Next, we do have Trouble May Follow Me, but I use my blank to overcome it. We've got Charm, Dignity, and Ferocity. I really don't think I look all that ferocious. I'm a pretty cute little Sylvari ranger here, so I think we're gonna go with either Dignity or Charm, and I think we want to go Charm. Next. Oh, these do sometimes pop up as options in dialogue. So, they just give you a little bit of some role-playing option. The next thing is, I dreamed of a quest that calls me to action. It was the vision of the Shield of the Moon, the Green Knight, or the White Stag. These are really just things that factor into your personal story. So they will play a role. But is it a super major one? Not necessarily. But I think we're going to go with the White Stag. It says that it's a creature of enchantment and an immortal beast with great power. Being a ranger, I think it's very fitting that we go with the White Stag. I believe that the most important of Ventari's teachings is, and I know we talked about Ventari when I talked about the Sylvari, so we know a little bit about, this is essentially which of his teachings that was etched on the marble slab resonates with us the best. We have where life goes, so too should you. All things have a right to grow, and act with wisdom, but act. Next, we're going to look at when we were awakened. It says, the pale tree awakened me during which of these cycles, essentially? It's going to be dawn, noon, dusk, or night. I feel like our Sylvari probably is a bit more in the cycle of noon. So we're going to go next, and this is where it's going to give us our breakdown of what we essentially just chose. So it says, though trouble may follow me, I overcome it with charm. The pale tree awakened me during the cycle of noon, and the most important of Ventari's teachings is all things have a right to grow. While still in my dream, I dreamed of the white stag, and I'm called to find it. I'm a ranger, and I have a dog that fights at my side and guards my back. This is my story. Signed, and this is where we will name our character. Character names are unique. The maximum character limit is 19, and you have to have at least a minimum of 3. Our girl here has some purple flowers in her hair, so let's try Zinnia, the type of flower. We're going to hit next, and this will pop up whenever a name is already in use, and it will say, please select a different name and try again. I was hoping it would do that, and we're just going to go boop, one over, and we're going to type in Dame Zinnia and hit next.
I am Sylvari. 25 years ago, my people first appeared in Tyria. The pale tree flowered, and the firstborn awakened. The dream contains my race's memories. We gain awareness here, and then awaken into the world. The dream fills me with knowledge, and is my connection to others. It is my inspiration, my guiding light. While here, I have discovered my purpose, to face evil and destroy it. Even now, I sense my destiny calling me to awaken. My time is soon. Nature and goodness are under siege. All life hangs in the balance. If Tyria is to survive, it will need us. If we fail, the dream will be consumed by nightmare, and Tyria will wither and die. I dream of voyages. The voices of my people whisper to me of far-off places and mysterious shores. A white stag races before me, brave and wild. It offers me the gift of freedom. The dream hints at my future. There are distant lands and dangerous challenges, but also I see my home. A grove with a white tree and friends who will stand by me when I need them. My honor dictates that I help those who are lost and alone. I am their protector. I hear my name in the wind, and I feel the call of my future. And yet, I sense darkness approaching. Something intrudes upon the dream. It blocks the path to my awakening. Before I can enter the world, I must first face this evil and vanquish it. I'm summoned by the dream. This is my story.
All right, that was the first part of our story there. Now it's gonna kick us off into the world, and it looks like we actually have quite a few people joining us with new characters. First, let's take a look at our character here. She's perfect. We're gonna look at the tutorials that pop up. Doing WASD to move, and we have camera control. Hold down the right mouse button and move your mouse.
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
We're gonna come over here and talk to this little ghost girl at the green star.
Dreamer, I am Kaith. I need your help. Can you hear me where you are within the dream?
Within the dream? What does that mean? Why do you look transparent?
I am in Tyria, a land far away. Soon you'll awaken here, but for now you live in the dream. I can't explain right now. We must hurry. Something is poisoning the dream.
Poisoning the dream? Of course, I will do whatever I can to help you. But why me?
Your spirit is strong. Do not underestimate yourself. Head to the far embankment, and I'll meet you there.
Alright, we're heading to the far embankment. Also, that text that popped up here and went right up here, this is going to tell you what you need to be doing in your story mission. So we're going to move right past these, but you know what? Let's go ahead and kill it. We've only got one skill so far, and it's just our auto attack, essentially. Move right along here.
This way. Those hounds are an aspect of the poison.
I always forget the audio cuts out on them if you move past them, so. And looks like right now we're just gonna do some auto attacking on these guys. I'm clicking to target right now only because I have not fixed my key bindings yet on this account. That is the first thing that I encourage you to do once you get into the game, is to look at all your key bindings and set them to whatever feels the most comfortable for you. I typically use shift to target the closest enemy to me, so I'm not having to click constantly. You can also just hit the one skill whenever you're running around, and it will typically target the first thing that's closest to you. You can also highlight people now and right click and inspect cosmetics. This one looks quite a bit like us. They added that in the game not too long ago, where you could actually look at people's cosmetics if you wanted to know what they were wearing. Beat the shadow creatures infecting the dream. And that's just what we're gonna do with all of our friends here. Gonna attack some more of these nightmare hounds. Faith is saying something.
She's made me tangible, but only for a few moments. Hurry, Sapling.
Okay.
Be ready for anything. Swiftly now.
We're gonna end the corruption. Shoot these nightmare hounds. Take them out. Like we got an engineer fighting with us. And a necromancer. Some kind of achievement down there, which we'll look at those a little later also. That's a big Durgan. Alright, we do have different spots that we can target here. I'm gonna tell you now, it doesn't affect the health in different ways. They're just different areas to target. It's all one big health bar. We're gonna target here and strafe around. And dodge and then walk straight into that. And get interrupted. Not a big deal. We're good. Red rings on the ground are a no-no. So stay out of those. What I was talking about, the ranger is really good for making yourself aware of what is okay and what is not to stand in while keeping a little bit of distance. Still got knocked down with that one. That one got me. I never said I was a pro.
The dream is safe from this poison.
We did it! It's going to spit us out in Khalidin Forest, which I had mentioned is the starting area for Sylvari.
Where am I? I was fighting a great evil. Are we safe? Kaith? Where is Kaith?
Steady, sapling. You just woke. You were calling out in your dream. Kaith was just here, but she had to go speak to the Pale Tree.
She and I fought side by side against a poison in the dream. I saw the shadow of a terrible dragon, and I felt the dream call upon me to defeat it.
By the tree. A wild hunt so soon, and such a momentous task. To be a valiant of the wild hunt is a difficult charge. Bear this calling with pride.
I will. But how do I begin? One does not simply awaken and rush off to face a dragon.
You start here in our forest. There were others hurt in the dream. They could use your help. Besides, it'll be fine training for a new valiant.
And we did it. It gave us a new bow to equip in a moment.
That turned me into an adventurous mood.
And we leveled up to level 2. And we've got lots of new friends around us. Got people talking to the scout up there. But I think this is where we're going to stop this one for now. Here with our friends. And we'll look at digging into more of this next time. I really hope y'all are just as excited as I am to get more into this series. If some of you are a little disappointed that I might have picked Ranger, you know, there are so many professions you can pick from, but I really think Ranger is a good place to start for beginners. And honestly, it wouldn't hurt me to even go back and learn the mechanics of the game again. That's what this series is for. But do comment below if there's something that you really want to see, another race, another profession. Let me know. I have another character slot. I'm also not opposed to buying another character slot. Again, I have 35 characters on my main account. I don't mind making another one. I do hope you'll join me on episode 2. Really hoping to make this a weekly series. There will be announcements on all of the social media. Subscribe and make sure you turn on notifications so you know when a new episode's drop. And I really look forward to getting more into this with y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Nothing but peace and love to y'all. We'll see you next time.